Good evening. I'm glad to be back. I'm Tom Cox.
I'm David Baker.
So we have TCA, DBA, and PGA working on this project, which pretty much covers the front end of the alphabet. I am here to present the master plan and also to talk about the market rate portion of the project. I think all the statistical information has been gone over pretty thoroughly, but I would like to zero in a little bit on the actual master plan. The first key component is the construction of the garage. It was absolutely necessary to realign Parrott a bit, to wedge the garage into a very, very small and tightly constrained area to make it efficient, and also to create a pedestrian connection from the parking garage to the BART station and to the second phase, or the affordable housing phase, and the future phases of the project. So a little bit of a realignment of Martinez, larger sidewalks, reconstruction of the intersection, and a direction of traffic. And we worked with traffic and traffic consultants to make sure that this works correctly, but this is a 100% replacement of the current BART parking lot. In addition to that, new street treatments along Martinez. The design team decided that it was wise to keep the alignment of Martinez. It really did a good job. The street's already there, it's intact, infrastructure is in place, and it served as a good organizing device for the rest of the project. However, it's too wide, it's too busy, and so the goal was to narrow the street down to calm the traffic. On the east side, adjacent to the tracks, to provide a bioswale, a fence, some kind of visual barrier so that we could pedestrianize Martinez and make it a little more friendly for the people walking and bicycling to and from the station. In addition, from Alvarado, we've created pedestrian connections and potentially walking bicycle connections to get from Alvarado to Martinez, and then relocating, hopefully relocating the crossing area more to the center of the site so that it gathers people together and allows them to cross in a safe and friendly fashion versus where it might be located today. Oh, there's a really great slide that David's going to present also on the walkway bicycle path in the bioswale area. So a little bit of what I'm here to talk about, and this is primarily for the market rate side. We heard from the community and from the council about a desire to identify and create a more historically referenced architectural theming for the market rate housing, and the design team on our side chose to pursue a Spanish historical revival theming. That comes with a certain set of criteria, and I'll be the first to tell you these buildings are large buildings. And so breaking a large building down in terms of its mass, creating articulation, not over-detailing it so that it doesn't appear to be heavy and bulky, and allowing wall mass and openings to speak architecturally to the street, and having a pedestrian scale are very important to everybody on the team, and so that's what we're trying to achieve. So in the investigation, we looked at some wonderful buildings. The upper middle one happens to be in the city of San Leandro, and identifying those things with the celebration of entry, for example. And we decided to key on the archway, which makes itself apparent throughout the city. As the Caterpillar arch that's sitting not too far from us today is a key component. The entryway to the shopping center coming up Escudillo, I always have to work on that one, is also a celebration of entry. Some things like asymmetric massing, so that it isn't repetitious massing. Asymmetrical window placements and a variety of window shapes and sizes. Setting back from the street, trying to create a sense of human scale. So on the middle slide on the bottom, you see a very large setback, a tower element, some articulation along the street. The site that we're working on is the market rate site, and it consists of 200 units, 200 dwelling units, all apartments today, but designed to condominium standards. The community was very concerned about things like traffic on Carpentier. Our original design, for example, had no housing on Carpentier at the ground level. Listening to the community and to the concerns about traffic, we have relocated our driveway access to the upper level of parking over to Wana, and we've allowed for the residents to turn the corner on Carpentier, and we've taken all of our loading and our resident entries and pushed them all the way down as far as we could down by Escudillo so that we could try and unload some of those parking and traffic concerns. About 5,000 square feet of retail on this project, and we've created a plaza. We were going to put the plaza on the corner, but we thought because of the traffic and because of the activity that we would create a sense of entry into the project and access to and from the garage and allow for a plaza that was kind of a landmark plaza for the project. And most importantly, or very importantly, is the paseo that's created as the extension of Escudillo on the north-hand side of the project. That will be a walking, biking, hiking, all those wonderful activities. But it also has housing on it with stoops and porches, and those houses also wrap around the corner on San Leandro and go up Wana and turn the corner on Carpentier. So on every side of the building, you will see housing and architecture come to the street and activity of pedestrians coming and going at all times of day on their feet and walking around the city of San Leandro. On the upper level, we have our podium deck, which has the recreation amenities. It is four-sided architecture, and you can see even in this diagram there's a tremendous amount of effort to offset some of the planes, to have setbacks, to break down some of that building massing. Again, we have a large-scale building, and so we're making some efforts to break down some of that massing. And on the front, down by San Leandro, you can see that we stepped the building back at that upper level to create that upper level plaza for connectivity, both physically and visually, for the people that live in the homes down to San Leandro, to the street and to the recreation area, and with an entry plaza off to the right. The height is, our proposed project is about 60 feet in height. The TOD strategy allows for about 75 feet. We don't need that much mass on this building, so our goal is to try and lower that building scale and mass and to try and provide a more pedestrian-friendly and smaller building. But I will tell you, the building is still a big building, and so our job is not over, and our effort is still ahead of us. Architecturally, we're in the very beginning stages now of trying to put this building together. The first shot is right on San Leandro, and you can see the retail on the right and extending down to the left. We're using, again, what I would call a referenced Spanish Revival architecture with large wall planes, offset windows, asymmetrical masses, and then using the arch to celebrate that sense of entry. Close-up shot, the reference shots are on the right, and you can see where the entry is into the project off of San Leandro. The anticipation is a widening of the sidewalks and a narrowing of the street and providing more of a pedestrian-friendly environment with planting and trees along that area. Along Wana, the building continues up, and you can see the beginning of the introduction of the residential units. The residential units should look different than the retail space, and so we've taken some pains and efforts to try and call those out and create a strong base for the building. And also we're taking efforts to break up the vertical massing by creating a series of decks and awnings and asymmetrical window planes, and lowering and raising roofs so that we don't have one large massive building along the street. And you can see the results of that along Wana, where that would be the walking environment. Our goal is to maintain or retain all the trees on Carpentier and all the trees on Wana. The trees along San Leandro with the street improvements will likely be replaced because they'll have to be, but it'll be a consistent theming. And the lower image on the slide there is the TOD imagery from the strategy plan. And we're taking some of our clues from the desires of the strategy plan to provide a very strong pedestrian connection from the housing to the street in a very walkable community. And I'd like to turn it over to David, and